Have you ever been there, sitting in front of your computer, the screen's glowing, you've got a powerful AI chat window open,
Oh, yeah.
and the cursor just blinks. It's like it's waiting for you, this little digital eye just staring.
Mm-hmm. Expectantly.
Exactly. And, like intellectually, this tool can do incredible things. Draft emails, brainstorm campaigns, write code, make an image of I don't know, a toaster in
A
space.
sentient toaster, even.
Right. The possibilities feel completely endless, and yet your mind, total blank.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Not one interesting prompt comes to mind. Not even a satisfying one. It's just that frustrating moment, that self-annoyed feeling where you feel this pressure, a little guilt maybe?
Yeah, a bit of guilt.
Right.
Because you feel you should be able to use this amazing thing, this limitless resource, but your own imagination just quits.
It falters. Yeah. It's humbling, actually.
It really is, isn't it? And it's surprisingly common. So many people feel this now in this age of generative AI.
That feeling, that sharp contrast between the AI's power and your own sudden, inability to even start.
That's it. That acute awareness, the potential right there, and then the frustrating feeling of your own inadequacy. You get that little spark of self-annoyance, judging yourself almost.
For not having that brilliant idea ready to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For not being able to feed the machine something worthwhile. It's a very unique kind of frustration.
Totally that feeling. Well, that exact moment of digital paralysis, the flicker of disappointment with yourself, it actually has a name. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're exploring a phenomenon that feels incredibly current, totally of our time. But as our sources show, it has these surprisingly deep roots. We're talking about Promptitus Frastrata.
Right, Promptitus Frastrata. And our mission today, it goes beyond just defining it. We're actually going to trace its origins, which, you won't believe this, they stretch back decades.
Yeah.
Before generative AI was even really a thing.
Decades. Well,
Yeah. And we'll explore the symptoms, look into the causes, and then connect it all to things we already kind of know about, psychologically speaking, like writer's block, or that feeling of choice overload.
okay, so connecting the dots. And hopefully we'll uncover some, practical ways to handle it so that blinking cursor doesn't feel quite so mocking.
Exactly. Practical takeaways. We've got a great stack of sources, old manuscripts, newer research papers, reviews, all to pull out the key nuggets for you.
And what's really wild, like we hinted, is that this specific feeling, someone anticipated it long before the tech existed to make it happen.
It's quite something.
Okay, let's unpack this. Where do we start? The definition.
Let's start right there, the core definition. Because getting what it is really sets the stage. So basically, it's defined as a situational state of self-directed disappointment and mild frustration.
Okay, self-directed. That's key.
Experience when, despite access to advanced artificial intelligence systems, an individual cannot generate an interesting, meaningful, or satisfying prompt.
So it's really specific. It's not just being annoyed that the Wi-Fi is slow or something.
No, not at all.
It's the frustration with yourself, with your own brain, basically. When the tool is sitting there, ready to go, humming with potential, but you can't give it what it needs.
That's the crux of it. And the sources really emphasize that contrast, the AI's vast potential versus the sudden, maybe embarrassing inadequacy of your own imagination right then and there.
Yeah, like having the keys to a spaceship ready for this amazing journey, but you're just standing there on the launch pad thinking, where did I want to go again?
Or how do I even turn this thing on? The machine is ready, but the pilot, the human, is momentarily grounded.
Right. But it doesn't last forever, usually.
Thankfully, no. The definition says it's typically brief and self-resolving. Most episodes fade in minutes, maybe hours.
Okay, so it's not like a chronic condition. It's more like a mental hiccup.
Exactly, a temporary glitch. But there's a caveat. It may recur in frequent AI users.
Ah. So if you use AI a lot, maybe for work, for creative stuff, you might hit this wall more often.
You might. Especially if you're integrating it really deeply into your workflow, solving problems with it, they could become a familiar feeling.
The example they give really hits home. She stared at the blinking cursor, unable to think of anything to ask, and recognized the onset of Promptitus Frastrata.
It's that exact moment, that sudden internal blankness. It nails it.
It really does. So relatable. Okay, but the name itself, Promptitus Frastrata, it sounds so official, almost medical. Where did that come from?
It's clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was intentional. It's designed to sound like a real condition if you break it down.
Yeah.
Prompt, obviously, is the input for the AI. That's everywhere now.
Right.
Then omeitis. We know that suffix from medicine, right?
Yeah.
Like bronchitis. It means a condition, an inflammation, some kind of affliction.
Okay, makes sense.
And frustrata, that's straight from Latin. It means disappointed or in vain.
Ah. So putting it together, it's like the condition of being disappointed with your prompts or your prompts being useless.
Basically, yeah, a condition of prompt-related disappointment or futility. It captures the feeling perfectly. It's actually quite elegant.
And here's the kicker you mentioned. The first known use. This is wild. 1996.
And 1996, can you believe it? Not coined because someone got stuck using ChatGPT. It came from this researcher, Dr. Richard Borman, in his notes about future human-machine interaction.
1996. I mean, what was AI even like then? Mostly theory, science fiction.
Pretty much. The internet was still finding its feet for most people. Generative AI as we know it now, writing text, making images from prompts, that was pure speculation. Yet Borman was already thinking about this specific problem.
Wow.
He had this unpublished manuscript, also from '96, titled Promptitus Frastrata, anticipating cognitive frustration in human-machine querying.
He was anticipating it.
He was, and then he followed up with papers. In '99, one called Choice Overload at the Interface, the Paradox of Infinite Prompts and Stalled Intention.
Choice overload. We'll come back to that, I bet.
Oh, definitely. And then in 2001, From Writer's Block to Prompt Block, a situational account of self-directed disappointment in AI interactions.
The titles alone, they tell the story. He was incredibly ahead of his time.
Decades ahead. It's genuinely startling foresight.
So let's really dig into that. How could Borman, back in the 90s, possibly come up with this? What was he thinking?
Well, based on the few notes we have, he said the idea just came from him daydreaming about what he called generative machines of intelligence.
Which is basically what we just call AI now.
Exactly. This was '96, and he literally scribbled a phrase into a notebook, Promptitus Frastrata. He'd admitted it must have seemed eccentric then, a made-up condition for tech that didn't exist.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But what really grabbed him wasn't just the power he imagined these machines having. It was the paradox he thought they'd create.
The paradox being
That people sitting in front of something incredibly powerful might just freeze.
freeze up, even though the machine is working perfectly fine.
Precisely. Not because the machine failed, but because, as he put it, the human imagination faltered. That's the core insight. He saw a human limitation, a cognitive block, arising specifically because of the machine's immense power.
That's profound. It's about us, not the tech.
It really is. More about psychology than technology in a way.
And he used writer's block as an analogy. That makes immediate sense.
Perfect analogy, right? He said, we've all experienced writer's block, that awful paralysis facing a blank page. The words just won't come.
Definitely been there.
Promptitus Frastrata, he saw, would be its cousin. Specifically, the self-directed disappointment, when you've got this superintelligence waiting, but you can't think anything worthwhile to ask it.
You feel inadequate.
Exactly. And he painted this picture, which feels so real now. The blinking cursor becomes not just a neutral placeholder, but a mirror of your own inadequacy in the moment.
Oof. Yeah, that blinking cursor judging you, it resonates.
It really does. It shows how deeply he understood the potential psychological impact, even without the actual technology in front of him.
And why the pseudo-medical name? Why pseudo-mediness?
That was deliberate. He wanted it to sound like a condition, something more universal than just a passing mood or a quirky habit.
Not just a personal failing, but a pattern.
Right. But he didn't want it to sound like some terrible disease. The frustrata part was meant to capture that specific mood, not despair, just that sharp annoyance with yourself when you feel you should have more to say.
When the potential is obvious, but you're drawing a blank.
Exactly that feeling.
Yeah.
That mild but distinct self-directed irritation.
And for him, back then, this was purely theoretical.
Completely. A thought experiment, he called it. I had no proof, no machine to test it on, nothing.
But he had this strong belief.
A conviction, yeah. That human psychology would not vanish just because the tools changed. If anything, he thought, the tools would magnify our old habits, our weaknesses.
Make them more obvious.
Sharper relief, yeah. Our struggles with creativity, our anxieties, perfectionism, they just show up in new ways with these powerful new tools.
And looking around today, he nailed it.
Uncannily. He noted later, in the little we know of his later thoughts, that people do talk about this feeling now. They describe drawing blanks with AI, feeling pressure to be original, feeling guilty about wasting the tool.
All the things we're discussing.
Exactly the state he imagined, that subtle annoyance with yourself. It's fascinating how a thought experiment became such a shared reality decades later. Like he planted an idea, and now we see it everywhere.
And the mystery surrounding Borman himself just adds to it. You said not much is known about him after the early 2000s.
Very little. Beyond those few key papers, his later life is poorly documented. His whereabouts, a mystery.
So it's like he dropped this incredibly prescient concept onto the world and then just vanished.
Almost exactly like that, leaving us to rediscover it once the technology finally caught up and we all started experiencing what he predicted. It adds a certain mystique, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
A conceptual breadcrumb trail left decades ago.
And now researchers are not just following those crumbs, they're actively building on them. Which brings us to the present day. Because Promptitus Frastrata isn't just some clever historical footnote anymore. It's not just a pseudo-Latin phrase from a mysterious researcher.
It's real.
It's being studied intensively. Cognitive scientists, HCI researchers, psychologists, they're all looking into it. The sources say we should expect many research papers and clinical trials by the end of the year.
Wow. So the academic world is taking it very seriously.
Very seriously, as a legitimate, observable phenomenon with real impact.
Which means it's not just you feeling weird when you get stuck, it's a recognized thing. So for people listening, maybe nodding along right now, how do you know if you're experiencing it? What are the signs?
Good question. The research points to a few key indicators. One is that sudden awareness of a blank or stalled train of thought, despite intent to engage AI.
Right. You sit down, you mean to use the AI, you might even have a goal, and then just nothing. Your brain hits a wall.
Exactly. It's not just being distracted for a second. It's an active stalling of your thinking. You want to come up with something, you feel you should be able to, but the well is dry. No spark.
That frustrating gap between wanting to do it and actually thinking of how.
Precisely that gap. And linked to that is another symptom. Feelings of inadequacy or disappointment in one's imagination.
Back to the self-directed part. It's not the AI's fault. It's my fault for not being creative enough.
Right. That mini imposter syndrome kicks in. You start questioning yourself because you can't immediately master this brilliant tool.
And then you might find yourself just generating really basic stuff.
Yeah, that's another sign. Repeated generation of trivial or unsatisfying ideas. You type, write a poem about cats, then immediately delete it. Too simple. Too lame.
Not good enough for the super AI.
Exactly. You try something else, still doesn't feel right. So you get into this cycle of starting, stopping, deleting, feeling more and more dissatisfied with your own input. Your internal critic is just working overtime.
And physically, you might just stare or switch tasks.
Those brief avoidance behaviors, just staring blankly at the prompt box. Or suddenly deciding it's really important to check your email right now or get a snack.
That subtle procrastination born from the mental block.
It's your brain trying to escape that feeling of being stuck, that resistance to the effort required.
Okay, so those are the symptoms. What causes it? Why does this happen?
The research suggests a few contributing factors. A big one is high personal expectations when using powerful AI systems.
We hear so much about how amazing AI is, how revolutionary.
Exactly. All the hype, the viral examples. So we internalize that and think, I should be able to do amazing things with this too. We set the bar really high for ourselves.
Which leads right into the choice overload thing Borman spotted way back when.
Absolutely. Choice overload and analysis paralysis when faced with near infinite possibilities. This is huge. When the AI can literally do anything, write code, music, strategy, create images, role play.
The sheer number of options is overwhelming.
It freezes you. It's not that you lack choices. You have too many. And that abundance becomes the problem.
It's like standing in front of a buffet with 1,000 dishes and not being able to pick one because it's just too much.
Even more than that. Because with AI, the choices aren't just laid out. They're abstract, infinite possibilities you have to generate yourself from nothing.
Oh, right. You have to invent the dish before you can even order it.
Exactly. Your brain isn't just choosing. It's trying to conjure the perfect choice out of thin air. That's a massive cognitive load.
Yeah.
Decision fatigue sets in before you even type anything.
The sheer weight of potential just paralyzes you.
That's a great way to put it. It's paralyzing.
What else contributes? Just being tired.
Yeah, simple things like fatigue, distraction, or low motivation.
Yeah.
If you're already drained or your phone keeps buzzing or you're just not feeling inspired.
Then coming up with a good prompt feels like climbing Everest.
Right. The mental effort, which might be small when you're fresh, feels enormous when your resources are low.
And then there's the social pressure aspect, seeing what everyone else is doing online.
Oh, definitely. That's a very modern trigger. Social comparison and pressure to be original after seeing other successful prompts.
You see these amazing AI images or stories people share.
And you feel this pressure, maybe subconscious, to create something just as brilliant, just as original, that external pressure, plus maybe your own perfectionism.
Ironically, blocks you because the bar feels impossibly high before you even start.
Exactly. You're not just trying to use the tool, you're trying to perform for an imaginary audience.
Yeah.
Or even for the AI itself.
So, okay, we recognize the symptoms, we understand some causes. What do we do about it? How long does it usually last?
The good news first. Its course is typically self-limiting. Most episodes resolve on their own, minutes to hours usually. It's a fog that lifts.
Phew. Okay. But it can come back, especially for frequent users.
Right, especially if you're under pressure, tight deadlines, or have really high standards for yourself, you might run into it more often.
And crucially, you don't need, therapy for it.
No, the sources are clear. No clinical treatment is indicated. It's not that kind of condition. The focus is all on practical self-management strategies, things you can do.
Like what? What's the first step?
One of the simplest and most effective. Taking short breaks away from the interface.
Just walk away.
Just step away, 5, 10 minutes, get some water, stretch, look out the window, step outside if you can. It's not procrastinating, it's a deliberate cognitive reset.
Clearing the mental palate.
Exactly. Let your brain decompress, shift focus. Often, when you come back, the logjam's eased up, or a new idea's popped in.
Okay, break taken. What next? When I sit back down.
Don't jump straight into the hardest thing. Begin with simple warm-up prompts to build momentum.
Lower the stakes. Don't try to write the great American novel with the first prompt.
Precisely. Ask something trivial. What's the capital of France? Tell me a knock-knock joke. Define kerfuffle. For images, generate a red circle.
It's not about the output at that stage.
Not at all. It's about getting the gears turning again, reestablishing that interaction flow, building a tiny bit of confidence that you can generate a prompt, any prompt. It chips away at the self-doubt.
Like stretching before you run. Makes sense.
And that ties into the next big strategy, reframing sessions as experiments rather than performances.
Ah, changing the mindset. Not a test I can fail, but playing around.
Exactly. Think of it as exploration. You're testing the AI, seeing what happens. You're also exploring your own ideas. There's no wrong answer in an experiment, just data, learning.
That takes the pressure off immediately. The perfectionism monster quiets down.
It really does. It encourages curiosity and iteration instead of demanding instant brilliance. Give yourself permission to just try stuff.
What if you're still stuck? Any other tactics?
2 more good ones. Brainstorming with peers or using structured prompt templates.
Talk it out with someone.
Yeah. Sometimes just saying your half-formed idea out loud to a colleague or friend helps crystallize it, or they might spark something. Externalizing helps break the internal loop.
And templates, like pre-made structures.
Exactly. Lots of AI tools or websites offer them now. Templates for blog posts, marketing emails, code snippets. They give you a scaffold.
So you're not facing a totally blank box.
Right. They break down the overwhelming task of prompt anything into smaller, manageable questions. What's the topic? Who's the audience? What tone? It reduces the cognitive load and guides your thinking. Shows you're not alone in figuring this out.
These are really practical tips, and they underline that Promptitus Frastrata isn't just some weird, isolated thing. It connects to bigger psychological ideas.
Absolutely. Let's revisit Borman's first analogy, writer's block.
Yeah, people have studied that for ages.
Decades. Sources go back to the 70s, like Upper's work, and there's lots of recent analysis too. The core feeling being blocked, despite having the potential to create, that's the strong link.
With writing, the words are inside you but won't come out.
The Promptitus Frastrata, the AI, has endless potential, but your ideas, the commands, feel stuck. It's that same creative paralysis, the fear of the blank page, but amplified by this powerful new medium.
The pressure shifts, maybe? Not just, can I write something, but can I write the perfect command for this super brain?
Exactly. That's a much more intimidating hurdle for many people. Can I adequately instruct this thing?
And then there's the choice overload connection Borman made back in '99. The problem of too many choices leading to decision paralysis.
Spot on. Research confirms this again and again. We see papers discussing the downsides of choice, how it leads to paralysis, the cognitive load it creates. It's the classic paradox.
Too many options makes it harder, not easier.
Right. We see systematic reviews on this, the less is better effect. Too much choice causes anxiety, less satisfaction, and often just doing nothing at all. Like the JAM study, people buy less when there are too many options.
So with AI, where the options are basically infinite,
The brain just short circuits. The sheer, unimaginable number of things you could ask the AI to do is so overwhelming, your default becomes asking it to do nothing. Its power becomes a barrier. Your energy goes into navigating infinite choices, not creating. Cognitive gridlock.
And then there's technostress. That feels very relevant.
Very relevant. It's the stress specifically from using new tech, and AI is a prime example. Research is emerging on AI's impact on technostress.
It's not just being stressed using a computer, it's more specific.
Yeah, with AI, it's often the pressure to keep up with the rapid changes, the need to master complex prompting skills, and that nagging feeling you're not using it as well as others.
That am I smart enough for this smart tool feeling.
Exactly. That cognitive load drains your mental energy, making it harder to think creatively when you actually sit down to prompt. We see this studied in educators, in students. The pressure to adopt and master AI creates stress that can manifest as this very block.
So pulling it all together, writer's block, choice overload, technostress, Promptitus Frastrata isn't really new in terms of the underlying human psychology.
Not fundamentally. It's a new manifestation, maybe an amplified one, of classic human challenges. The struggle to start creating, the paralysis of too much choice, the stress of adapting to new tools.
It's our old patterns playing out on a new, powerful stage, just like Borman predicted.
Precisely. Which brings us back to the simple power of naming it. And Borman really believed in that. The value of naming it lies in recognition.
That makes so much sense. Once you can label that feeling, that blankness, that self-annoyance, it stops feeling like just your personal failing.
It becomes a shared experience. It shifts from I'm just unimaginative to, oh, this is a known pattern, a psychological response someone saw coming years ago.
It normalizes it, takes the sting out of it.
Hugely reassuring. It dials down the self-judgment. So when you're stuck, cursor blinking, feeling frustrated, you don't have to beat yourself up.
You can just acknowledge it.
Exactly. You can, maybe even with a little smile, say to yourself what Borman suggested. It's only Promptitus Frastrata. It'll pass.
And just knowing that, knowing it's recognized, temporary, human, that can make all the difference. It turns that private struggle into something shared.
Well said. So we got a pretty deep dive today into Promptitus Frastrata. This condition named almost 30 years ago, quite remarkably, by a visionary researcher. And now it's a very real experience for so many of us using AI.
Yeah, we traced its surprising origins back to '96, explored the symptoms, the causes rooted in psychology and modern pressures, and connected it to familiar things like writer's block, choice overload, and technostress.
And crucially, you've got some practical strategies now for when that blinking cursor starts to feel intimidating. Taking breaks, starting simple, reframing as experiments, brainstorming using templates.
Tools to manage it. So, as we wrap up, looking ahead, AI keeps evolving so incredibly fast. It's getting more integrated into everything. What other subtle psychological shifts might we see?
That's the big question, isn't it? What other thought experiments from the past might suddenly become our everyday reality? How will our minds keep adapting or maybe resisting the sheer potential of these tools?
Definitely something to think about. How our brains will cope or change in the face of ever smarter machines. Plenty to ponder until our next deep dive.